It is important to acknowledge the historic patriotism of the Nigerian youths who ultimately paid the price of freedom and advocacy with their lives on 20th October 2020.
Let them shoot, let them shoot. No problem! No problem! Everyone sit down, sit down, sit down!
It has been a year since the Lekki tollgate shooting in Lagos, when the Nigerian military allegedly opened fire on hundreds of NSAS protests, which resulted to the loss of lives and fatal injuries.
You'll be fine, you'll be fine!
For a spontaneous 10 days non-stop, youths across Nigeria took to the streets to protest the incessant harassment, extortion and extrajudicial killings by the default men of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS, as the Nigerian youth insisted that the police unit must be disbanded.
I'm here to say just one thing. Let us reform the Nigerian police force. The police brutality is too much, the killings and slaughtering, they are just too much. But we're not talking about SAS, we're not talking about SWAT, we are talking about reforming the entire Nigeria police force. Let the brutality stop. We know they have to fight the armed robbers and the kidnappers, but let them do it and remember that we are human beings, that we have children, that we have parents, we have brothers, we have sisters, and they are Nigerian citizens that are supposed to be treated with respect.
We have waited for so long. We have actually exercised a lot of patience. We have tried our best to be patient and watch them do the right thing, to do the needful for sure. But we have waited for so long. So this is the right time for us to tell them that the game is over.
The protest will go down in history as one of the most prolific, organized and viral demonstrations by the youth in Nigeria. About a year later, we'll take a look at the outcome of the protest. Of course, the police unit SAS ended up being disbanded, but as Nigerians commemorate this groundbreaking event, the question is, has there been any improvement with regards to human rights practices in Nigeria? What is the lesson learned? And what should be the expectations of the Nigerian youths and the country at large?
I believe that the essence of the protests last year yielded a result, in the sense that at least the youth have been able to sensitize everyone that what the brutality of the police is not good and what they are doing is not good. And at least the world at large, they've been been aware of what is happening. So it's left for everyone to judge, because the truth about the matter is when the truth is brought to the table, people make their choices on what they want and what they don't want. But it is one thing to bring that truth to the table, to the knowledge of everybody. So I really love what was done last year by the NSAS protest, and if that should continue, I think it will take us to a very good end.
Actually, it did not change anything to me. It did not change anything. Rather, it caused more harm than good. So, they are still killing people after the NSAS protests. People are still dying up to date. They are still killing people. So, our youth just wasted their lives, the people that died.
I don't think a lot has been done towards the agitation, because most of the things the youth complained about have not been looked into. There is still police brutality and a lot of issues that has to do with insecurity in the area. And very unfortunately, within our vicinity, we now see police as our enemies, because most times they look towards victimizing people, intimidating people, extorting and all the rest of them. So I believe that that idea of NSAS has not been really achieved, because if it were, at least by now we should have seen a lot of programs and will I say plans from the government towards reducing the rate of unemployment that is ravaging the youth. There is hunger everywhere, and all you see is wickedness from the so-called government we are looking up to. These are youth that every day schools keep on producing university graduates that has nothing to offer, nothing to do, no job. Even if I thought they learn the so-called skill, no capital to start it up. So I believe that the idea of NSAS has not really been achieved. I pray that the government will look into our agitation and try to work towards helping the youth out of what they are into.
The protest ends last year, and today, you know, we feel okay. We feel okay. We are not seeing a problem again. Ends has stopped. So now we are moving as we are those days. So there's no problem.
All this brutality where we dey experience on top of SARS hand. Upon say we don't protest last year, upon say they don't kill people, they still they continue they do all the shenanigans wey they do. Even yesterday, my friend say SARS still stop am, carry am go police, search him phone, collect him money. When will this stop? Nigerian people don't talk am today. Say enough is enough. We no go tolerate wetin the government dey do.
Changed. I'll tell you what has changed. You can't unsee what you have seen if you have anything conscious still living within you. You cannot pretend that you did not see Osha chasing people around at Alausa with a cutlass. And you cannot pretend not to know that the gentleman is walking free unless he has run foul of some other one of the rules that applies to his like. You cannot pretend that not a year later we see the toll gate refurbished and ready to start collecting the blood money that he's been collecting. It's clear. What has changed? We see the complicity at all levels. We see the complete lack of shame at all levels. We see that there is a fusion between the Nigerian state and the criminal elements in the country. We see the fact that the Nigerian state thinks nothing of taking the life of those it calls citizens. And we see that it would invest time and money and effort at killing the truth because it cannot own up to the evil that it has done.
Science and history both agree that humans have evolved over the years and are still evolving, since the only constant flight phenomena is change. We hope for the better. We also hope that history doesn't repeat itself so often that we end up going in circles. This is a call to the end of ignorance and man inhumanity to fellow man.